Time now to round up a big topic of the week. HISD, the state's largest school district, is trying to solve the overcrowded classroom issue. Over the past week, parents have packed meetings demanding answers. The Texas Education Agency limits the size of elementary school classrooms to 22 students. This year, HISD has requested more than 1,500 class size waivers. Some parents are worried their children may be rezoned. They say meetings may not be the best way to address these issues. So what exactly should be done to curb the overcrowding issue? That's our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you. You can weigh in on our Fox 26 Facebook page. You can also send a tweet. Use the hashtag Fox26for Life. Joining us live in our newsroom now is our Roundup panel, and it's led by our Fox 26 senior legal analyst, Chris Tritico. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so certainly not a problem that is unique to HISD. I know lots of districts across the country have this issue.
It's a statewide issue in Texas for sure. And really there's several factors here. First, I think the Texas Education Agency has been lax over a great number of years in enforcing the 22-to-1 ratio that's mandated by state law. And they're now jumping in when districts like HISD have had so many waivers that parents are getting concerned. The important aspect of a ratio of 22-to-1 is the individualized education that a teacher can provide the students if there are not so many children in the classroom that the teacher can't get to each child. That's why we have these mandated class sizes, and that's why the agency should have been enforcing this for a very, very long time. There's a lot of factors that go into play, and we're going to talk about that right now. Let me introduce our panel. Mustafa Tamiz, our political analyst, Jackie Valley, public policy analyst. Jackie, we'll start with you. HISD says that there are a great number of factors that go into why we have to have 1,500 waivers a year.
Yeah, and Sally's correct. This is not unique to HISD. We had this problem in Fort Bend ISD, but I think we were just more and more proactive. You saw in all of the magazines, everyone's coming to Houston. Houston's the #1 place to come. It's the #1 city where people think that our economy is growing, our business is growing. And as such, you're going to have families, and that's part of the reason why you're seeing this population growth in our school system. HISD needs to be more proactive, even if TAA is not going to be proactive. For instance, they need to look at their structure of zoning, look at the underutilized schools and try to make sure that those schools are utilized. Something that we do in Fort Bend ISD, we do have trailers, temporary trailers. A lot of parents and students don't like it, but it's another option that you can have. So there are a lot of proactive ways that HISD can come into play before TA actually takes their actions.
You know, HISD has lines, Mustafa, that have been in place for 20, 25 years. If you're not going to rezone the schools, we hate the word zoning in Houston, but if you're not going to redraw these lines, you really can't keep up with population trends.
You can't keep up, but there's also an underlying issue, which is funding, right? The reason why you don't have 22 kids and a teacher, for the most part, now we can talk about drawing lines, we can talk about lots of other factors, but because there's not enough resources, they're not able to hire enough teachers, and they're trying to manage their budget, just like school districts across the state. So what we have in this education problem is the same thing we have in transportation. We have deferred maintenance, so we've got a lot of potholes at our street. We're also creating potholes in the human infrastructure of our state, because what's happening is because we've underfunded this, we're causing permanent damage to a generation that is lagging behind. We are at the bottom of any state in terms of public funding our education, and that is going to have real consequences, whether we have 22 kids or 23 kids. But over time, we're not going to be able to have enough resources to educate our kids.
All right, let me go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media.
Okay, one of our loyal viewers, Ben, always up early with us, chiming in on Twitter. This morning, he says, why does HISD experience overcrowding? 3,000 unaccompanied minors in Houston schools. That's the reason he's giving for the problem, and that is definitely a big part of it, right?
And that is a very minor part of it, because HISD has over 200,000 students, so you add 3,000, it's not going to do anything. That's not the issue. And so it's nice to try to tie everything into illegal immigration. Every problem in the world is illegal immigration. That's just not the case here, I don't think. I was at a conference, a school law conference just the other day, where a graphic was put up that there were more people that came to the Houston Independent School District and the state of Texas after Katrina than have been coming in here from the surge of unaccompanied minors. And so that's really not the issue in my view. Jackie, do you agree with that?
I disagree with you. I think it doesn't help. I don't think it's the major issue. So I guess I'm in between you and Ben.
3,000 out of 250,000
I'm in between you and Ben. But you do see a lot of teachers and administrators saying that the unaccompanied minors that have come in the last couple of years has put another sort of dent in their resources that they didn't already have. I also would like to say that one of the things that a lot of these administrators have to do is look at their budget. Mustafa is absolutely correct, and that's why you see Governor Abbott and others in our state leadership saying we need to give more local control, because we do have these potholes, I'm going to use his words, in a lot of our different policy areas, not just education. And until we see a surplus in dollars, we do need to make sure that the local administrators have more control of their budgets so they can assign the dollars in where it's necessary.
That while I completely disagree that it's unaccompanied minors, you do have a problem when you have to have a bilingual teacher and a regular ed teacher, and maybe I can't move these children from classroom to classroom, which may oversize certain classrooms.
Well, 44% of our population, overall is Latino, so you are going to have to accommodate for different languages. But the larger issue is that if you do not fund the important needs of our state, and instead you come up with sound bites, and you blame the immigration problem when that isn't the problem. When you say we have too many administrators, when maybe we have a little bit of fat, but we don't have 30% fat. We have to get down to the basic. What we don't need is more promises and more sound bites. What we need is real solutions and more funding in education.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. TEA, too little, too late, but finally moved in and said we're going to start enforcing this, and which is causing districts all over the state to reevaluate how they are going to get waivers and how they're going to build new classrooms.